Hi, I'm Amanda Skelton, an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and today I'd like to show you how to make this card. Well, I say it's a card, but it's also like a box. So it's quite a nice 3D fold that you can make, and then you can open it up, and then you have this little section here. It's just so that it hides when you want to write your sentiment inside. It just hides it, so you've got a really nice crisp background for the detail. This one I've used the Poppies set of dies and papers, but now we're in the new catalogue, so I want to show you some of the new products then and the new colours that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to be using one of the new colours, which is Lemon Lolly. So this is the cardstock, and then the paper I'm going to use that goes with the suite I'm going to be using is Fresh as a Daisy. So if I just take that out of the way a minute, it's got some really nice papers in it. So it's got 2 sheets of each design, and the first sheet has got lots of different sections, so you can cut these to make sections on your cards. And then we've seen, this is the one I'm going to be using today. And then we've got this design and this design. Is there another one in there? Oh yes. And then blue and another slightly different green as well. And they're always got different colours as well on the back, which are going to be very useful as well. Really nice sort of watercoloury type artistic designs. So that is the colourway I'm going to use today. So this is all part of the Cheerful Daisy Delight suite. So these are the stamps, and in fact this project I'm not going to use any of the stamps, I'm just going to use the dies. So here we have the dies, and I've actually already taken a couple out, which are going to be the ones that I'm going to be using. So you've got one big section, which is what we're going to be using for our design here, and then you have your layers to be able to build up. So it's a little bit like decoupage in that you build up your layers. So that is your Cheerful Daisies and Cheerful Daisies dies, and that is actually a bundle, but there's also a suite with the papers. And then I'm also going to use the Fern 3D embossing folder. So I've used that to emboss this, so you've got a nice bit of detail behind there. And then I'm also going to use the natural prints dies, and I'm going to use this one here, and this is going to become this background here. It's just really nice. It's quite nice and lacy, that one, so we're going to use that one as well. So we're going to use the Lemon Lolly and then the white as well, as its colour to coordinate with. So what do we need? Okay, so we need a piece of cardstock. So like I said, this is the Lemon Lolly, which is one of the new colours coming in this as part of this catalogue, and that needs to measure 11 inches long by 4 1/4 inches high, and you want to score that at 1.5 inches, 2 3/4 inches, 8 1/4 inches, and 9 1/2 inches. So hopefully you can see that there's 4 folds on there. And then you can use 2 lots of different patterns if you like. I've chosen to use the same pattern, but you want 2 pieces that measure 1 inch wide by 4 inches high, and 2 pieces of paper DSP that measures 1 1/4 inches wide by 4 inches high. So they're all the same heights, but these outside sections, which will become these front panels, are slightly wider than the sides. And I've done it so that they're contiguous, so if you put them together you can see the patterns join. They don't have to, you're not going to notice that much. I've just done it because I cut it from the same sheet of paper. And then for the inside, so for the insert, that is 5 1/4 inches by 8 inches, and I've scored it in half at 4 inches, so that's going to become my insert. And then you want some white and coloured card for the die cutting the detail on the top here. I've also just added that just felt a little bit bare over there, so I've just added just a little length of ribbon, and I've got a different ribbon. This is a retired ribbon actually, and so is this, but just a piece of ribbon that I'm going to add as a bit of detail on that front left section. I haven't got any sentiment on here. You could put a sentiment on here if you wanted to, or inside, or you could add a sentiment off to one of the sides. I've just chosen to keep it general for this particular one. Okay, so we've got everything we need. So the first thing you want to do then is score, well, we've scored, but fold all of our edges. So I'll just get my bone folder. So you're going to fold them all the same way. So that's going to become the box. Same this side. So that becomes your box. Okay, so knowing that, you then want to make sure, so I'm going to fold that flat, and then that is where I'm going to put my sections on there. So actually I'm going to do it, yes, I'll do it that way. There isn't particularly a way up for this one. And is it that one? No, it's that one. No, there you go, that one. Okay, so actually I think it is that way up, so I'm going to do it that way. Okay, so now you can add your layers. So I'm just going to add double-sided tape, and you just want to make sure they're centered on the panels. Oh, if I can get hold of it. Was it that way? Yeah, so again, center it within the panel. Try and line up the top and bottom edges, because that's what you'll notice probably more than anything. Actually, by the time it's stood up, you won't notice it because you won't see around the corner. This one you want to make sure is lined up with this one, because you will notice that, because they'll both be together. And then the final section, and again, so there isn't particularly a right way up on this one. So is it that one, or is it that one? No. Okay, I'll do it that way. Got a funny feeling I might have just put that other one up the wrong way, but never mind. Yes, so there we have your detail. So that is your card ready to start adorning. Okay, so what we're going to do now is do lots of die cutting. So I'm going to use this from the Natural Prints as this white detail behind, and then, like I said, I'm going to use different flowers. So I'm going to do let's just get rid of that. So I'm going to do a white background on that one, and this is really nice because these pieces are all together already, so it adds a bit of stability. And then these I'm going to do in the yellow. So let me get my, and what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to do the embossing as well on this piece. So let's get my machine. Okay, right, so I'm going to take off all except the base, and then I've got two pieces of card that I've just used as a I'm using the base, and I've just got two pieces of card that I'm using because it's a 3D embossing folder. It's quite thick, so you need to play around with the height to make sure you don't get it too thick. So I'm going to place it So that will fit in sideways. I wouldn't normally suggest putting it sideways, but if you don't, you're not going to get it through because of the way of the orientation I've got the card. So is that enough? No, that isn't enough. So I think that's that. Take that one off. And then add those two in. So I think, yeah, so that just needs a little bit more thickness. So there you go, that just gives me enough of a thickness for it to actually do the embossing. So there we have the imprint. You can choose which side if you want the embossed or debossed. So now we need to add all of our layers back in. So I've got my base, my thin layer, first clear layer. Get rid of the two pieces of card that I used as a shim. Right, so let's just get rid of that piece for the minute. So first one I'm going to do is this detail here. Okay, that one's got that one there. And then just remove any extra pieces that you might get on your cutting plate, because otherwise it will leave indentations on the piece that you put on top of it. So now I'm going to do the white base for here. So that one's the base, which is really pretty. And then again, clear all of these off. Okay. And then the last one I want to do is the lemon lolly, and that's going to be my detail on the top. So let's just cut these three out. Make sure you don't overlap your dies, because if they go on top of each other they will break each other. Make sure that you put your top plate on straight on top of it and you don't move them around by mistake. Okay, so there we have our flowers to put on the top. So just take those out, and that one we want, and I'll just show you in a minute how that all goes. So we're finished with that for now. Right, let's just get rid of all these little pieces because they'll end up getting in glue and going onto your card. Okay, so we have this piece here. Now, if you want to add rigidity, you could maybe use thick card for this piece here, or you could die cut it out twice, and then you've got something just to give it a bit more thickness that will add it in order to go across the gap. I didn't do that. It seemed to hold okay with just one, so that's fine. So that's what I'm going to do for this one as well. So effectively going to put a piece like that. We're only going to stick it onto this side, and then we have got need to cut some of those out. I'm not going to be too fussy about the tiny little dots in the middle. If they haven't gone out, I'm not going to be too fussy, but I will on these because this is where you'll see the white detail behind it. And that's where this is such a nice die set. So, I can actually go that way. I haven't quite worked out. I think it goes that way. Because they don't fit exactly, you can mess about with them really, and you can make them go wherever you want them to go. There are dots on it, so I don't know if I can show you this. So I don't know if you can see the dots here, and here, and here. And then on these, there are dots. I suspect they all start to line up. I just haven't got myself into how that is lining up at the moment. And I'm not going to worry about it too much because, like I said, it's not an exact fit. And then this one goes on here for a bit of detail. So that's just really pretty, isn't it? So what I'm going to do first of all then is, and then what I'm going to do is add that onto here, and that's just going to sit across the front. And again, I'm just going to add it to the left-hand side. So let's glue these on. So I'm just going to add double-sided glue tape. And the same with this one, just got a bit of glue tape. You can use liquid glue if you want to. Just depends how. So there you go, that one goes on there. And then that sits on like that. So it does go within the flowers at the back. So I think maybe I've just worked that one out. First time I've actually using this die set actually. So it's quite nice to use. I've been dying to use it. It's such a pretty one. So just make sure that all the leaves are within each other. It's really pretty, isn't it? Really, really pretty. And you can obviously use different combinations. You can have a darker colour underneath and white on top. You can do so much with this. So we've got that. And then what we want to do then is I'm going to stick that on there, and then I'm going to stick this side of this onto here. So it's just going to go in the middle, and it's just got this really, it's sort of really such a nice delicate die that this fits really nicely behind it because it's got the same level of detail, and it's just really delicate, isn't it? So I'm going to just glue on here. And I'm just going to give that a little press. Because it goes across it does go across the gap, you do want to make sure that this is nicely pressed down, just to make sure it's got that strength there. So I'm going to add a little bit more to here. I can see that that isn't quite glued, and again, just to add some strength to it. Okay, and then this one, I'm gonna use this big flower because that's the one that's got the most strength. I'm gonna add that, and I'm gonna just glue the side and maybe the I think I'll leave those up so that they can be, but I'm just gonna add a little bit of glue. So the thing to remember with this is you've got to remember it's going to go into an envelope. So that's it. So it's a normal 6x4 card that it's going to make, and you want to make sure it goes into the envelope. So you've got to remember that if you stick it like that, that it's going to go slightly, might go slightly over. So if you don't use the same, so just make sure it's going to fit into your envelope. So even if it goes over the side, you can see there you've got a little bit of, you've got probably about 1/2 inch that you can play with. But just be aware of that. If you're using a different design, you might want to use, just make sure you position something a little bit further left, further right, should I say, just so that it's going to make sure it sits on. Okay, so I'm going to put that about there. And it's quite nice because then I'm not going to attach these to this base. They can just sit freely if they want to. If you feel that it needs a little bit more rigidity, you can do, so that it just brings them both together. But I quite like the fact that it's sort of got some movement to it, really. Okay. So that is the basics of that. So now we have the insert, and I'm going to use the embossed side. So I'm just going to fold that in half, and that is literally just going to go inside there. So I'm just going to put some glue along there. So you just want to centre that. Okay. And then the last thing to do is the piece of ribbon. I'm just going to glue a piece of ribbon just down the left hand side here, just to add a bit of detail. I quite like the fact it's got, I'm just going to make that a bit neater actually, but I quite like the fact it's got a little point at the side, just to add a bit of detail. And then I'm just going to again add some glue tape, and I want that to go about there. So just hold it in the middle and then just stick it down the back, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of glue tape further down just to keep it in place. So it's that side that you want. So I'm just put a little bit there, a little bit there, and a little bit there, and then let me put it the right way so I can see what I'm doing. And then I'm just going to fold it down like that so that it's straight, and then I'm just going to pull it nice and taut. There you go. And then we have it. So a really nice pretty card. Not really difficult to make because the card base is actually quite simple. But there you have a really nice detailed card. You can write your sentiment in the middle. You can obviously add lots of other detail as well. As part of the bundle, you get these lovely gems. Is it these gems? I think it was these, yeah, these gems. So you could add some nice little gems to the centre of the flowers, which would look quite nice. But I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm quite happy with that. And it stands up nicely. And it will fit in my envelope like that for posting. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Like I said, it's using the Daisy Delight bundle, I think it's called, and the sweets. Yeah, I just think that's such a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of use for this die set. I'm going to really enjoy using that. I'm going to do a lot of different designs with this, so keep an eye out and you'll see some more ideas. Hope you've enjoyed it. As always, you can see my website at amandascraftedcards.stampinup.net, and I'm on Pinterest, I'm on Facebook as Amanda's Crafted Cards, so please do look me up and have a look at the other projects that I've done and other tutorials. If you subscribe, then you'll be able to see when new tutorials are uploaded to YouTube. So do take a look, and hopefully I'll give you some more inspiration for other ideas. Until next time, take care. Bye bye.